As someone also trying to do a startup media business, High Plane Network, Startup Panic absolutely appealed to me as being the latest simulation management game where you will start up your own online social media platform in this instance. You'll be the head honcho boss, and you will be hiring a team of individuals to help you develop and mature your online platform. You'll be developing new features, testing it, user researching it, getting some bugs fixed, and then putting it out to market and hoping that the scores match the doors. Anything close to a perfect 10 will be fantastic. Anything below a 7 out of 10 will mean that people will not want to use your site at all, and you'll start to lose market share. In doing this, you will lose your competitive streak against other businesses and potentially run yourself aground, and your startup will fail. So, Startup Panic absolutely has a great premise out of the gate. However, what I found with Startup Panic is that it has a very shallow and surface level gameplay loop that gets very old very quickly, even though it tries to put constant obstacles in your way for you ever getting to a goal that is just around moving a couple of switches and levers. All of the graphics in front of you mean absolutely diddly squat is the first thing that I would say. It's just a visual representation of your office, and slowly as it gets bigger and bigger you will start to have more things on the screen, but they won't necessarily do anything to help you in the actual gameplay itself. Instead, you'll be spending time in usually one of about 4 different menus. The first one is the feature roadmap for your startup, and you'll always be kind of doing like instant messages and chats and all of that kind of thing, and you'll be building out a different feature. And when you dive into that feature, it will have 3 different elements to it, and that will be the technology for it, the kind of look and feel of it, and the design and the usability of it. So kind of the tech, the visuals, and the ability to actually use. You'll be scaling up whoever you've got on that project. You'll be allocating like percentages out of 100 to fulfilling those criteria, and that will change depending on the type of feature that you're going for. So if you're looking for like a new technical feature, say to start chatting to people, it doesn't matter so much about the look and feel, it's about the technology and the usability of it. Whereas if you're going to start doing some kind of, I don't know, image upload, then it will need to have a good look and feel as well as tech, and maybe be less usable. So you're kind of balancing that around. Those things will also depend on the type of staff member that you put on that team, because the staff that you hire will all have their own traits in those 3 skills as well as marketing as well. They also have motivation, which deplenishes over time as you continue to make them work. And then what you'll have to do is basically every second thing you ask them to do, you'll have to send them on holiday for 2 weeks to get them to cheer back up again, and hope that you've paid them enough money at the same time so that they don't bitch and moan and then leave. As you go through these different elements of the business, essentially you will have certain tiers that you need to hit by certain road marks in time. So one of the very first ones that you get is there is a like music star that decided they want to do like an album reveal party on your platform. So you need to have all of your features and some specific features built to a certain grade by this time period. Otherwise, your platform will crash and it will fall over, and it's an instant game over for you. So you can't just be like terrible and just have like a 2 out of 10 usability rating for everything. You have to keep going back and researching and refining the different things as you go along. The other thing around this is that you are quite often hacked. And when something gets hacked, it will then bring down the stats of certain parts of your website, which you'll then have to go back to and refine and redo again. And it's all of these different things that basically sees you constantly going into the the feature development section of the game, and just clicking through. And once you've kind of got the rough percentages of where you think you are, and you've managed to keep hold of the same staff, which is more tricky than it seems because they love to leave if you don't pay them loads, you'll just kind of go through the mill and redo the same thing over and over again. But it then means that you then have to spend longer either doing side jobs to get in the money to then build the next feature when you're very small, or waiting for marketing to come through when you get bigger and you start marketing at different regions around the world to bring in new business. Once you've then got that money in and you've got enough staff in, and those staff are trained to the level where they're actually going to make a good feature, then you can then make that feature and progress. And it's that constant gated gameplay that basically makes this feel almost more like a idle clicker than it does a management game, because there's very little that you actually manage. It's all around just the timing of that person's now got low motivation, send them on holiday for 2 weeks. When they come back, they'll be at 100% motivation, which means that they'll give 100% of their stats, and therefore you can put them with 2 other colleagues on a project to build blah. But in the meantime, you'll just need to make sure that you'll get them all trained up by just putting them on the same couple of training courses over and over and over again to then get to that level of the bar, and then hope that they don't leave in the meantime and join a competitor. As you're going through this as well, other CEOs will then pop up and they will have market share, and they will always have a better market share than you, even though they've just literally popped onto your radar, which I always find a bit strange. And the idea is that you are then now in competition with them, and eventually you'll have a goal where you then become the main platform of choice in the area that you go for, and then you'll be expanding your office, getting bigger, therefore going for a more global look at things, because the way how the Startup Panic game is done is very much by region, which is very strange considering it's an online platform business, but I get what they're going for. And eventually you'll be aiming for being the biggest company going, but you'll also be doing that without trying to sell away all of your business, because investors will be coming in or offering you loans for you to kind of get to that next step, but they'll be asking for shares of your business in return. And wouldn't it be rubbish if you were stuck there working for a business that you owned nothing of by the end of it? It's an interesting game, but that shallow gameplay mechanic of build a feature, oh look, we've been hacked, rebuild it again, oh refine it, rebuild it again, oh we said that all 7s was fine, now we want all 8s, oh okay, do it again, gets very old very fast. And because it feels like it's going out of its way to throw problems at you, because the actual gameplay loop is really shallow and short, I felt like I was seeing through it. Now, maybe other people might enjoy this kind of juggling around and back and forth of stuff, but what I was finding was that my site, because I was seemingly guessing or understanding the percentages of what features should be like and training my staff to the right level so that they could then deliver on those features first time, I found that I didn't then need to do the side jobs, so that then became a bit of a waste of time to ever have that menu going, and all I was doing was sending my entire staff on holiday for 2 weeks, bringing them back, splitting them into teams of 2 teams, getting them to then develop or enhance a feature. They then come back, we do a bit of training, send them on holiday, and just do that loop over and over and over again, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that was the game. It didn't feel like there was enough variety in the game. I didn't feel like it was challenging in particularly in like a fair way, if that makes sense. Instead it was just like, oh, you've been hacked again. Now I can go back and send everyone back to do all of the beginning features that you've done. And because you've then built up your staff so well at that time, they can come in and you can just send like one member of staff on and be like da-da-da. So it's not even a like issue to then go back and remember how you've done something before, because your staff are then usually so much better, so then they can perform at a higher standard. It's just wasting your time, because it then takes like 45 days to fix the issue in game, which then means that you can't then spend getting to the next point. So it feels like a arbitrary thing that is stopping and blocking your progress and trying to stretch a game thinner for longer than it really needed to be. So yeah, I felt like Startup Panic was very shallow. Nice to look at. Some interesting ideas and features, specifically around the marketing side of stuff, I thought was actually quite well done, because you can go into different regions and you can market to different groups depending on what technology they have on their area, which will then kind of increase or decrease the market share that's available before you can even go in and tap into it. And how that kind of fluctuates over time. I thought that was quite well done. But outside of that, I felt like the rest of the game was really, really hollow. So yeah, not one I'd highly recommend there for the management sims. And I do enjoy a management sim, and I have no issue just spending my time in menus tweaking and mucking about. But this was one giant skill tree that didn't really feel like it was engaging me at all. So, written review will be over on higherplanegames.com. I believe this game is still being updated with some new features over time, but because it's only on the Epic Store at the moment, I don't know quite how their early access type of stuff works over there, but it's still being developed on, so hopefully it will be a bit more meaty in the future, maybe something I can return back to. But for now, you guys take care, and don't panic if you go for a startup. Breathe, go with it, and don't make a one skill tree game. Bye for now. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.